I've been producing music and making beats full-time for the last 3 years, and I've made thousands of dollars doing so. So if I was starting from scratch today and wanted to start making money, this is exactly what I'd do. First off, you're gonna wanna make sure that you're actually good at making music. This should be pretty obvious, but we have to start here. You can't sell something that isn't good. If your beats aren't hitting, then none of what I'm about to go into is gonna actually work for you. Getting good at making music is the most important part of this whole process. Your music, which is your product, has to actually be good enough that people want to give you money in exchange for it. Luckily, it's easier now more than ever before to get good at making music. There's an endless amount of YouTube tutorials for any genre out there, and there's tons of plugins and other tools that you can use that almost make it feel like cheating. So how do you know if your music is actually good enough to sell then? Well, art is subjective, so it's hard to quantify whether your music is good enough, but with a little common sense and reference tracks, you can tell if you're ready pretty quickly. If you just downloaded FL Studio yesterday and made your first beat, now probably isn't the right time to start thinking about selling it. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, you don't want to be a perfectionist and wait too long to start putting your music out there because you don't think it's good enough. The best way to know if you're ready or not is to compare your tracks to beats you're inspired by or beats you hear in mainstream productions. Is your mix as clean or as polished as the reference track? Is it just as loud and have the same impact? You have to be critical here and not ignore problems in your music because it's going to hurt your ego. Having high standards for yourself will pay off in the long run because having good taste is a huge part of being a good producer. If there's one common thing shared by all the producers we work with at the Heat Agency, it's that they all obsess over the quality of the products and sounds they release. It's honestly insane the amount of work these guys put into their kits. Next up is going to be making sure you have the right mindset going into this. Pursuing a career in music is going to take some time, and you should not expect immediate success. You may see some artists and producers blow up seemingly overnight, but you don't see the years of hard work and dedication it took for them to be in that position. If you don't keep this in mind, it's easy to get discouraged and quit before you start to see motion in your career. This is where the concept of delayed gratification comes in. Delayed gratification is basically a form of self-control where you ignore immediate rewards and pleasures to achieve a larger reward. For music producers, this means putting months, if not years, of hard work into your career before you start to see results. If you somehow knew that if you posted every day on your Typebeat channel for the next year, that you'd be a rich and successful producer by the end of it, you'd do it, right? This is the attitude I mean when I'm talking about delayed gratification. I used to always tell myself this: the only reason I could fail on my journey of becoming a music producer was if I gave up. So as long as I never gave up, I'd reach my goals eventually as long as I put the work in. Back in 2020, when I first started going hard with my YouTube channel and posting beats every day, I made a commitment in my mind that I was gonna post every day for the next year, no matter what happened in my life or how I was feeling. I wasn't gonna let anything get in the way because in my mind, this was the last-ditch attempt at a career in music. I've been pursuing it every free moment I had for years with little to show for it. So with this commitment in mind, I was able to stay consistent with posting every day, and after 6 months, I finally started to see some real money. You don't have to be as extreme as I was. In fact, I recommend that you don't be. But you gotta keep it in the back of your mind that this is a marathon and not a sprint. Now that we got the prerequisites out the way, we can start to get to the real juicy stuff. If I was starting from zero right now and I wanted to grow, I'd focus on these two main things: growing a Typebeat channel and making content around myself to promote my music. Today I'm gonna be focused on starting a Typebeat channel specifically. There's other things you can focus on as well, but your Typebeat channel is gonna be one of the most important platforms you have, especially in the beginning. Now, before some of you start to comment, aren't Typebeat channels dead in 2023? The market is oversaturated. I'll never stand out. Yes, the beat selling marketplace is extremely competitive, especially after we were all locked up in our studios just a few years ago. But posting type beats effectively on YouTube is still one of the best ways to grow your audience and get your music heard by artists. YouTube has become the go-to platform for artists looking for beats for years, and that's not changing anytime soon. From underground rappers to even mainstream artists like J. Cole and more, artists of all kinds are looking for type beats every single day. Artist traffic from any major beat selling platform is made up primarily of artists finding those beats on YouTube and then going onto their platform. If you look at any top selling producer on any of these beat selling platforms, there's a 99% chance there's a popping YouTube channel behind them. You have to generate your own traffic and leads to get sales no matter what beat selling platform you use. You can't expect marketplaces and algorithms to sell your beats for you because most of the users on these platforms are other producers and not actually artists looking for beats. So to make things short, yes, starting a Typebeat channel in 2023 is still the move, especially if you do it the right way, like I'm about to tell you right now. Now, there's a couple of approaches we can take to growing our Typebeat channel. The way I grew my Typebeat channel personally was to post type beats for artists I thought were on the verge of blowing up, so that when they went up, I went up with them. I got this strategy from Ant Chamberlain when he was on the Producer Grind podcast a few years ago. Basically, he came up by targeting artists like G Herbo and Roddy Ricch, who had high search volume but low competition. Instead of pursuing competitive niches like Future and Gunna type beats, he made his own way by finding gaps in the marketplace and supplying that demand. It's simple supply and demand from economics 101 if you think about it. No matter how hard your beats are, if you're starting from scratch and diving into the most competitive niches of type beats, you're going to be drowned out by the competition 9 times out of 10. To give your channel the best chances of success, you got to find the avenues that have a high amount of artists looking for beats, but a low amount of producers competing. But if you make Future type beats or any other high competition niches like that, does that mean you have to switch up your style to make sales? No. Not at all. You just need to find a more creative way to tag your beats so that artists have a better chance of finding them. Let's use a fairly recent example for this. Nardo Wick is one of the most popular rappers to come out in the last few years. He has a pretty unique style of beats that he likes to use, but you can hear other rappers on that same style like Future or Lil Baby. If you were making Future type beats back when Nardo Wick was on the come up, you could have tried tagging them as Nardo Wick type beats instead. You can use tools like vidIQ to do research and find these artists to target for your type beats. It's gonna take some time to find the right artist to target, and you have to be fairly tapped in with the music genre that you produce to find the right artist before everybody else knows about them. But if you do this correctly, you're gonna find your lane eventually. This is also gonna take some experimentation to get right. If you're following the same strategy for a while and not seeing results, you're gonna have to figure out why. Maybe you're targeting the wrong artist and you need to find another one. Your beats might not fit enough of the artist that you're targeting, so when people click onto them, they don't stick around long enough, and that tells the YouTube algorithm that this video is bad. If you look at my channel, you'll see that I posted a ton of different types of beats before I found what works for me, which was Sofaygo and other underground SoundCloud type beats. I tried tons of different niches and subgenres before I found what clicked for my channel, and that brings me to my next point. When you see success, replicate it. This is a huge mistake I used to make with my channel. I noticed when I posted certain types of beats, they used to get a lot more attention than everything else I was posting. But instead of doubling down on what I saw was working, I kept making and posting whatever I wanted. My hyperpop type beats used to sell way more and get more views than my emo alternative type beats, but I kept posting them because I was doing what I wanted instead of giving my audience what they wanted. And I kept doing this for a while until I realized that I was messing up. Luckily, I learned this lesson before I started posting Sofaygo type beats, so when I started posting those and I saw that they were immediately doing better than everything else, I decided to double down and only post those types of beats. And it paid off for me in the end. If you notice certain types of beats do better than others, or even if one goes viral, that's a really good chance that there's something there for you to take away and learn from and start applying to the rest of the beats you post. And if you don't want to try and catch on to another artist's wave, that's fine too. There's another way that you can make your beats stand out and carve your own niche in the game without targeting trending artists. And that's by getting more specific with your titles. For example, instead of posting just Drake type beats, you could try posting Drake dancehall type beats, or even beats that sound like they came from a specific album, like Drake Take Care type beats or something like that. If an artist is inspired by Drake and loves the album Take Care, chances are that title is gonna pick their interest and they're gonna click onto that beat and check you out. Okay, so we know how to post our beats, but how often should we do it? And is daily posting necessary to be successful? I'd say no, it isn't, honestly. Quality definitely trumps quantity when it comes to posting type beats nowadays. So you wanna pick a schedule that you can stick with for the long run without burning out. Because trust me, burning out sucks when you're running a type beat channel, especially if it's your main source of income. I felt forced to make only the types of beats that got views on my channel, and that pressure really built up over time until I wasn't able to keep up with my daily posting schedule. I think the whole trend of producers cooking up 10 beats a day and grinding constantly has died down a lot in the last few years. Tons of channels make good money only posting a few times a week, so uploading every day isn't necessary if you can't fit it into your routine. However, if you are at the point where you can consistently make banger after banger every single day, then definitely try posting every day. If you do these things correctly and have good beats and the correct mindset, then all that's left for you to do is to put the work in and make things happen for yourself. This is where most producers fall short and give up too soon because they don't think it's working. And then they go on Twitter and Reddit and write threads about how selling type beats is dead, when in reality, they only posted inconsistently for a few months and with no strategy. Like I said earlier, this isn't gonna happen overnight. Having a successful type beat channel doesn't happen accidentally for 99% of producers, so you can't expect to just luck into having one. But if you follow what I said here and actively work on it and analyze your progress over time, you'll make it happen sooner rather than later. I hope you guys were able to get some useful information in this upload, and I'll see you in the next one.